But Rod Stewart's angry.
Let's go!
Brothers, sisters, siblings, welcome to Penn Sunday School, starring Penn Gillette. My name is Michael Ludeau. Matt Donnelly, Reddy Rich, Penn and I are broadcasting from our separate homes in Las Vegas. Today we'll talk about Bob Dylan's rough and rowdy ways. We'll review some Fool Us episodes, and we'll talk about Iggy Pop and Mae West. Here he is, preaching love. It's Mr. Penn Gillette.
Well, we're happy that since Sunday, Rod Stewart's been completely exonerated.
It's a wonderful campaign.
We can stop the movement now. We've accomplished all our goals. One of the only movements in modern American history that's been entirely successful. Gay marriage and exonerating Rod Stewart. Good. Two moments that'll go down in history is America at its best, which we can certainly use some of. Let's start out. I have so much to talk about. Let's start out with Fool Us, shall we? How was it? We're going to start with the first show, right?
Yeah. This will be from, because this will be the 2 Mondays ago, which is all we have is the time of this recording. But it was, they brought back all people who have successfully fooled you guys twice.
Motherfuckers, yes.
And they wanted to go for a third time fooling.
Mm-hmm.
That don't seem right.
It's greedy. It's really greedy.
And Andre Pishkushkushkesh.
I was going to say, and one is something that I don't believe you're happy with at all, with how it went down, and that's Andre Pishkushnika. Who has some performance art to him in that no matter what you say, he will correct you on how you pronounce his name. He will never not pronounce your name, which I think is really funny.
I don't think I noticed that. He's doing it all the time to everybody, right?
He does it to everybody. And even I'll write it down, and to just leave the room, I'll point to what I wrote down. Be like, this is what I'm going to tell Allison. He'll go, okay. And then Allison will read off the page. She'll be like, that can't be it. And I go, if you go to him, he's just going to correct you. And then Allison, right before the cameras roll, will go to him and he'll correct her 3 times before she walks away. So do you want to go into him first? He was actually the third contestant.
Go in the order.
Well, your first guy up was your friend Sean Farquhar.
Who did a not the nicest gay joke, right? He did Brokeback Mountain Kings or something.
So he called them the 2 kissing kings, which is if you shuffle a new deck ordered deck, you'll see 2 kings on top of each other. He called them the kissing kings, which is I think common nomenclature. Then he said the Brokeback Kings, and that made it to air as well.
Mm-hmm. But he wrote an apology, right? Ready?
Yes.
Do you have that apology handy? Or?
Yeah, give me a moment.
Okay. He did not fool us, did he? Ha ha.
No, he did not. It was interesting that he basically tried to kind of combine the 2 tricks that he had done that had fooled you into one super trick. So he basically does a simultaneous card trick and a simultaneous book trick as well.
What did he say, Reddy?
Hi, Joshua. I appreciate you taking the time and effort to write me an email. The joke has never been part of my regular show. I wrote it strictly for the filming of Fool Us. The first time I told the joke was in 2011, and then once again in my return in 2020. I revisited the joke as I felt it added continuity to the structure of the routine as I was recalling my past 2 visits. The joke is referencing a movie and is stupid and outdated, but it fit the required structure as I mentioned above. I too had a concern and asked a number of my friends in the gay community who all felt it was comical and non-offensive. I apologize if you found it otherwise, as it was never my intention to offend anyone. My daughter, who is also gay, is my ethical sounding board, and she was comfortable with it, so I was as well. Rest assured it is not, nor will it ever be a part of my regular show should you ever come to see me live. I do my best to try to be sensitive and understanding and recognize I often fail. If you feel I have failed, then I have once again, and I apologize sincerely. Yours, Sean.
Beat that.
So he's a good writer.
Oh, good, Sean. That's a very thoughtful answer. That's good. I don't think I realized that was a joke he had done in 2011. I don't think I even knew that was part of the continuity, unless he underlined it and I just forgotten. Who was up next?
Your favorite, Helen Coughlin.
Oh, God damn her. You went back. Helen Coughlin is Australian.
Yeah.
Her father was a brilliant escape artist. And this little coven of Aussies get together down there in their well-handled pandemic country and think up things to come up and fuck with us.
Yeah.
And they are so successful. I mean, were you back in the room when she explained how it was done?
No, I was not.
She took us into a room
Yeah.
with no one else around. Well, that's not true. With her father, with some of her family around.
Yeah.
Some of the people who put this together. And she showed us how she did the trick that fooled us.
Yeah.
And Teller and I realized that if she had handed us the tools she had hidden and just said, I used these to do it, now how do I do it? We still wouldn't have had a chance. We, as she explained it in detail, didn't completely understand it.
Yeah, so she had, just for listeners at home who may not have seen it, she had you guys build the box that she was going to escape from.
Yeah.
And you can inspect every piece as she walked you through the construction of this box. Then, for her escape, she had Thunder from Down Under come out and dance and hold a curtain around the box.
By the way, I would like to say the Thunder from Down Under, which is a male strip group.
Yes.
I am bothered by the name Thunder from Down Under because it sounds like a fart reference to me, which is not what I want to see from men in thongs.
No.
I don't want them to have Thunder from Down Under.
Yeah, please don't have Thunder from Down Under while you dance.
Right.
Having spent time in Australia, they meant that. That is, an Australian joke. They like that sort of joke.
What I love about Helen Coughlin is that basically her dad thinks of the craziest shit, and she just comes up and does it. And she secretly always has these vicious methods that I think his dad's like, hey, I thought of this thing that's going to make you possibly hurt yourself, but it'll fool the shit out of him. And she's like, I'm in. And then every contestant who comes on the show is super nervous, and they, find a ways to rehearse their tricks 1,000 times. I asked her if she'd rehearsed this trick at all in front of an audience. She said no. She said, it's just been sitting around Dad's workshop. I think I worked with it 3 times.
That's Helen. Helen also said to me that I had pointed out on bullshit that I wrote bits to be surrounded by naked people.
Yeah.
And then I had so much work to do, I couldn't enjoy the naked people around me.
Yeah.
That's how stupid I was. And I wrote bits where I eat caviar, but I had to chug it down so I could get to the lines. I wrote bits where I was being massaged by naked people, but I had to just read prompter and so it was no good. And she said, I wrote this bit. We put Thunder from Down Under into it, and then I was in a box while they were dancing. So I got no enjoyment whatsoever from the nearly naked men dancing all around me. So we commiserated about that, about the fact that we would get sexual ideas and then not enjoy them.
Yep. In the backstage dynamic of keeping, like 3 or 4 mostly male magicians around 5 or 6 really hunky Thunder from Down Under dancers was an interesting dynamic to observe backstage.
Did they get along?
They got along, but it was certainly like 2 different species looking at 2 different species.
Who is up next?
We have Andre Pashnika.
That's Pashnika.
That's right. Andre Pashnika. Pashnika. A pretty complicated trick, but with callbacks to video to his first 2 appearances where someone in the audience picked a random card that Allison dealt, and that card was what he had done in his first trick.
Yep.
His second trick, someone ended up picking the same card that Allison had chosen in his second appearance, and then and that was via Allison picking up a bug and feeding it into the mouth of one of the on one of the random faces that he had made posters of his face, and Allison fed a bug into the open mouth of one of those faces. He turned that face around, and it was a card from Allison's, his second appearance with Allison. You guys chose 2 totally random cards, and he cut to video, and his video is of him with 2 pictures of you, and he turns the pictures around, and it's of the 2 cards that you guys had randomly chosen.
Right. And we gave away how he did that, right?
Yes. And that's the thing. The hardest thing to figure out, you'd figured out and busted him on it.
Yeah.
With a little thanks to Vinny Grasso.
Yeah. He did 2,940 different takes. Took him 40 hours.
Yeah.
All those numbers are wrong, but it's something like that, right?
Sure.
And when he said it, the audience started to applaud, and you yelled, "Don't applaud, he's an idiot."
I like him very much. I love Andre.
Do you want to talk about it? He broke a rule.
What was that?
When you tried to bust him on the second thing, you went to examine the card of the
Oh, that's
of the
right.
Face, and it wasn't a gimmick. And that was your guess, was that it was a gimmick.
Yeah.
And then you were not pleased when you walked off. When you walked off, and you talked to Allison, and Allison told you why she chose.
Oh yeah, that's
the
right.
face that she chose.
That's right. Yeah, it wasn't fair, but I still like him. He's a very lovable guy.
Yes, he's very funny, and he's really become like a character on the show.
Yeah.
He stays in character. If he is, if he's not a character, then he stays in character the entire time backstage, and it's really always amusing and a bright spot for me.
Yep.
He's a very funny guy, and yeah,
and he's willing to eat a bug, which shows it's show business.
Yes, he's willing to eat a bug. And I was laughing because I remember his interview. We talked about his guru all the time. He always talks about his guru.
Yeah.
And in his final interview for this, he said his guru was Lincoln and Andrew, the producers of Fool Us. And he spent like 5 minutes heaping praise on Lincoln and Andrew. And I was like, none of this will make air. So on the show, it's like, do you think you fooled them? No? Well, let's find out. There's like nothing to the interview because he spent the whole time talking about the producers of the show, which was never going to make air.
Who else was on?
Paul Gertner.
Oh, Paul. I love Paul.
Yes. And Paul Gertner had a trick where he made Teller choose a random guitar pick of 6 different colors.
Oh, that's right. I remember this. Yeah.
You chose a number between random number. You counted down to that card. That was your card. And then he'd handed you a pen, and the prediction of the pick color, the number, and the card were already printed on the pen that you were holding.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Did not fool us, but it was a good trick.
Did not fool you. It was definitely very interesting. It was a lot of layered people to bring back contestants for the 3rd or 4th time to fool you guys. They really go through some strange hoops.
Yeah.
They really go through a lot of strange hoops. And so that one was one where I was like, that's good. But as you could hear, me trying to actually remember the order of which things happened and how that went down. I guess it's like one tactic, because the first thing you guys have to do is figure out the order which everything went down, right?
Right, exactly, yeah.
So I guess they're just going for that right away.
Not the way Helen does it.
No. Here's this one thing. I did it. Figured out how it goes. Helen, no patter either. No, like when I was a kid, I kept dogs in my own homemade boxes. There's nothing along those.
I'm here to fool you. I'm gonna.
But it was a fabulous way to kick off the new season.
When I was a kid, my dad never let us see a box. So on Christmas time, we would go to Florida.
So only Helen fooled us, right? No, Helen and Andre.
Helen and Andre, yeah. 2 for 4.
And then Teller did the thing with
D. Snyder.
D. Snyder, yeah. Which looked good. I guess it looked good.
It looked great. Yeah, hoodie. You were around for that. That was probably the most rehearsed trick of the season?
Yeah, I think it was. You were D. Snyder a few times in that.
Yeah, so it was D. Snyder for an early rehearsal, and I came in with another friend to go through some more rehearsals. And then if you walked by Teller's dressing room, I forget where we taped it in the season, there was like basically like a mic stand or whatever kind of device holding a hoodie in Teller's dressing room, and you could not walk by Teller's dressing room without him stabbing a hoodie. Yeah. So
that's the way he likes to be.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, that's Fool Us, and we'll talk about we're now for Toots. We should have done that on the Sunday show, so that we'll do that next week. We'll cover that, so we're more in line with how we should do it. But ratings were good. I don't want to be like Howard Stern. By that I mean successful. And just talk about ratings. I want to, but it did very well. So we're in the game. People seem to like it. And I also want to say it's very strange because all of Fool Us was shot. We wrapped on Thursday, March 12th.
Yeah.
So we're the last possible show you could shoot with. We were aware of the pandemic, but not aware of how serious it was going to be. No. So it's shot like a normal show. And isn't it weird to see people hugging and shaking hands?
Yeah, and it was like March, March 10th, NCAA canceled all their college events, and then March 11th was the end of the NBA season and everything else, and it was like, so it was like that last day was the only like really kind of eerie day.
And as far as we know, nobody that was working on that show was infected. So I don't know how we dodged that bullet, but we did.
Yeah, numbers were pretty low at that time, so the odds were in your favor.
Yep. I think I told you that I was trying to stay away from watching murder shows.
Yes. Yeah.
So I've been watching documentaries. So the Stooges, the Three Stooges, have got all 190 of their shows, their shorts, are all out on iTunes and all high quality for $30.
Wow.
And I'm working
You say high quality.
Well, yes. I mean, they're well restored. You're not a Stooges fan, Godot?
No, I like them okay. They're not a huge fan, but I like them.
Well, I can just settle. I can luxuriate in the Stooges. And I try to watch one or two of the shows a day, which means I've only got 179 to go. And the children come in and go, "What's happening?" I go, these guys are knuckleheads.
They are really having a hard time figuring out how to solve this problem.
Yeah, they're knuckleheads. Yeah. They're just knuckleheads.
See, he hit him with a saw, and then he hit him back with a hammer.
So after watching the Stooges, I thought it'd be really funny to watch a movie about the Stooges, that is to say Iggy and the Stooges. So I watched Gimme Danger. And Gimme Danger is about Iggy Pop and the Stooges. And it's done by Jim Jarmusch, and it's a very well-done documentary. I really enjoyed it. What I love about it is that I didn't expect that the Stooges would actually address their relationship with the Three Stooges. And during this show, Iggy explains that he wanted to they called themselves the Psychedelic Stooges. And then Iggy wanted to change the name to the Stooges. And Ron Ashton, one of the two brothers in the band who played guitar, called Mo. Just looked him up in the phone book and called Mo Howard in California and said, "Hi, I'm Ron Ashton. We have a punk band that we'd like to call the Stooges. Is that okay with you?" To which Mo said, "I don't give a fuck. Just don't do comedy and don't call yourselves the Three Stooges." So they got Mo's blessing, and then Ron Ashton, when they were in L.A., would go and visit Larry Fine of the Three Stooges at the nursing home and bring him whiskey and cigars.
Oh, wow.
So the idea that the Stooges were respectful to the Stooges makes me so happy.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing that's great about this documentary, David Greenberger pointed this out, it's so interesting. Iggy Pop, who if you wanted to picture someone who would be most rebellious, Iggy Pop would be close to the top of the list, right?
Yeah.
Performing naked on stage, doing heroin, inventing stage diving, cutting himself up, smearing himself with peanut butter, language, obscenity, very close to his parents, which I love. They lived in a trailer in Michigan. And talk about loving parents. You guys are both parents. Godot, you might be able to do this, but man, it seems hard. They had a trailer, not a double wide, a trailer. And the three of them lived in the trailer. Iggy Pop was an only child. The three of them lived in a trailer. And when Iggy was like 13, his parents bought him a drum set.
Oh my God.
And he would play for 2 or 3 hours a night.
They are heroes.
And he would set up in the middle of the trailer, and he would play drums for 2 or 3 hours. Iggy Pop. This is not, some light touch drummer. This is, not Joe Morano.
No brushes.
No. Banging hard. And they would sit there, and finally they gave him what's called in the trailer the master bedroom.
Yeah.
So he could keep his drums set up, won't have to tear them down. And they moved into his twin bed.
Oh my gosh.
That's some good parents.
And when he was a heroin addict, his father found a way to illegally score him methadone, and he cleaned up with his parents helping him.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
That's crazy.
The most supportive parents there have ever been in the world. Iggy Pop's parents. I was just so inspired by them. And the way Iggy moves on stage, just like he swallowed a crazy monkey whole. And I love the way Iggy looks. What I love is if you search Iggy Pop, finding a picture of him with his clothes on is difficult. Other people, you have to add the word nude. With Iggy, you have to add the word with clothes on. So I said to my trainer, Jason, I said, boy, what does it take to have Iggy Pop's body? And Jason wrote back, heroin and speed. And he called them, I've never heard this term. Maybe it's Jason's own personal term. You ever heard the term Jesus muscles?
No.
He said, Iggy's got just Jesus muscles. They're just Jesus muscles. I said, what are those? And he said, Jesus muscles are muscles that are not developed at all, but you lose all your body fat by starving yourself, and you have the muscles that it takes to move your skeleton around. He said, and those look like you have muscles. He said, but he's done nothing to build his muscles. He's just lost the weight.
He just stopped eating.
Speed and heroin. Yeah. So
I give you full credit for getting methadone for your children. I don't think you would move to a twin bed for them.
But
did they live somewhere at least cool and comfortable? Because if you lived in a hot area, that close to your wife all the time would be really unpleasant.
I believe they were in the trailer. It was Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Oh, okay.
So there was winter.
Yeah, so
there was winter. So they would sit in a trailer with a 13-year-old Iggy Pop banging drums for, he would say, 2 or 3 hours a night.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little like when you hear about John McCain being in the tiger cages in Nam. But I love that. Love that about Iggy.
We have a rule the kids can play piano whenever they want in the house, since we got piano, so we don't ever want to stop them from doing that. And that is a house, and it's a piano. It's trialsome to keep that rule. I can't imagine drums in a trailer.
Yeah. Iggy Pop.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Because no matter how crazy and energetic your children are, they're not Iggy Pop.
That is the truth.
Yeah. Iggy Pop was, listening to Sun Ra, taking LSD and banging drums with his parents in the same trailer.
And getting in fights all the time, right? When he was finally out playing around, didn't he get in fights all the time?
He didn't get in fights. He got beat up. There's a difference.
Okay.
Jesus muscles.
He would throw himself into the audience and they would hit him. But he never hit people back.
Oh, that is an important distinction.
Yeah. So he was a crazy, interesting guy. Just a crazy, interesting guy. And I just think he looks gorgeous. And many of my friends disagree.
Well, I think we'd all trade sex lives with Iggy Pop. So
Iggy Pop and Rod Stewart.
Yeah, exactly.
who I would have no surprise whatsoever to find out they had sex with each other.
Yeah.
I would not even hesitate to go, well, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And can't blame either one of them.
No.
Very good choice. If they were the Brokeback Kings, we'd understand. Maybe that's what Sean meant. I got some more viewer mail I want to get to, but I'm going to also do an advertisement here.
Thanks for the heads up. I appreciate it.
It's a good one. I have a Sleep Number bed, and I absolutely love it. As a matter of fact, each of my family members has a Sleep Number bed, and we just adore it. We enjoy everything about it. When I used to be able to leave my house, and I used to stay at hotels, I would always say that the beds, no matter how good they were on the road, were never as good as our Sleep Number bed. And we just really, really enjoy it. They have some tips here on sleep, which is really good. This is tips to calm a racing mind. Write down what's on your mind. I do that. Put your phone in another room. I don't do that, but I turn it off. Focus on your breathing. I do that. Listen to soothing music. Well, it depends on your definition of soothing music. I listen to Hendrix often to go to sleep. Soothing is a different kind of word. But I do all these things. In times of stress and uncertainty, self-care is more important than ever. Quality sleep is one of the best methods to boost your physical and mental strength. Remote work can be challenging, especially if you're not used to it. Quality sleep can help you maintain focus and be more present, even when you are away from the rest of your team. And de-stress with morning yoga. I've been doing a lot of meditating, easing the day with a very few simple yoga poses to promote a relaxed, positive state of mind. Help you stay focused throughout the day and sleep better at night. And now, during the lowest prices of the season, save $400 on a Sleep Number 360 C4 smart bed. Boy, that's a good deal.
Whoa.
Now just $1,299, only for a limited time at Sleep Number stores or sleepnumber.com/Penn. Sleep Number is such a good bed. I have found that during this time being very, very stressful, that I can tell when members of my family get a good night's sleep. You can tell so clearly when you're not going out who slept well and who hasn't. It's a really, really important thing. So go to sleepnumber.com/Penn. And sleep again. That was horrible, guys. Try again.
I don't have video.
Sleeping.
Oh, you don't have video. Okay. Sleeping cute. How about this? 1, 2, 3. Sleeping cute. Oh, jeez. Anyway, our heart is with it. We couldn't quite get it together. Hello Fresh. Get mouth-watering seasonal recipes and fresh, pre-measured ingredients delivered right to your door with HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh makes cooking at home fun, easy, and affordable. We're loving cooking at home, and by we, I mean everybody but me. No matter what's going on in the world, everyone's got to eat. That's why HelloFresh is here to make eating better and easier. No grocery stores, no stressful meal planning, just everything you need to prepare wholesome, delicious meals, all delivered to your door. HelloFresh offers so many recipes to choose from each week to help you break out of your recipe rut. There's something for everyone, including low-calorie, vegetarian, and family-friendly recipes every week. HelloFresh has more 5-star recipes than any other meal kit, so you know you get something delicious. With HelloFresh, produce gets to you faster than a grocery store, so it arrives in peak freshness and flavor. That saves time. Everything's all cut up. You have the right amount. HelloFresh's pre-proportioned ingredients mean there's less prep for you and less wasting food. HelloFresh's carbon footprint is 25% lower than that of meals made with store-bought groceries. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
Add extra dinners or lunches to your weekly order. Throw in extra proteins or add in yummy meal condiments like HelloFresh's best-selling garlic bread. HelloFresh is committed to making fresh, delicious food available now more than ever. Has taken extra steps to keep its employees and customers safe. it's just a great thing. We've done this before. We love it. It is just fabulous. Use my code 80PEN, 80
Penn.
And
to get a total of $80 off, including free shipping on your first box with purchase. Go to HelloFresh.com to redeem it for more details. That is 80PEN, 80PENN. It is,
so good.
it's so good. We've all done it. We all love it. And, it is fabulous. Go to HelloFresh, HelloFresh.com and 80PEN, 80PENN. Check it out. So we were talking about, obscenity and blasphemy, which are often put together. Elon Reiser, I suppose, shared this story about blasphemy versus obscenity. In 1999, there was a Broadway production of Putting It Together, a review of Stephen Sondheim's songs. The cast featured Carol Burnett, who was replaced on her off nights by Kathy Lee Gifford. One of the songs their character sang in the show was Could I Leave You, originally from the show Follies, which originally features the line, Honey, I'll take the grand, sugar, you keep the spinet, of all our friends, and just wait a goddamn minute. Okay, so spinet's rhyming with minute. Gifford asked Sondheim to replace the line with wait a fucking minute, and he agreed. I saw her in the show, and it was quite something to hear her gasp her fan base when she spat that line out. I give her a great deal of credit, though. I think she would have gotten less flack from her base had she kept the original line, but she obviously felt a strong distinction between obscenity and blasphemy and was willing to maintain that distinction. That's very, very nice.
Wow.
Smart. Very smart.
Well written.
We're also talks about, someone saying that we should be very, very open-minded about people who are stating the truth as they see it in a time when there's cancel culture and all sorts of stuff going on. And I'm trying very hard to do that. I'm trying very hard to keep an open mind. And this is a tough one for me. This is a really, really tough one. But I'll read it because we can have tough ones. We can get through with that.
Why not?
Penn idolizes Lou Reed and always speaks very fondly of his old friend. However, in all the stories he's told about him, he's never addressed or identified the fact that biographers have well established that Lou Reed beat his wife and hit his girlfriends. I'm curious to hear how Penn rectifies this and whether he's able to compartmentalize that side of Lou Reed or if he simply separates the artist from the atrocities. I can't pronounce the person that sent this in because it's a short email address with, as far as I can tell, too many consonants. But I think it's Andrei Pranishkin. I didn't know that about Lou Reed while he was alive. And I don't even really know it now. Lou was very against biographers, and I don't read anything with my name in it or anything about people that I know well. I have not read the Bob Dylan biographies that are all, tell all. I have not read, Debbie Harry wrote a wonderful biography that everybody loves, but I'm in it. And Debbie's a very, very close friend of mine, and I love her dearly. So I have not read even her book about herself. And when the books are being written about Lou Reed, now this is going to look, sneaky or something, but I was not allowed. That's not the way to put it. Lou asked me as a favor if I would not talk to any biographers writing about it. So the point of view you're getting in the biographies of Lou Reed are only the point of view of people who didn't like him. Anybody who respected and liked Lou Reed was asked by him not to say a word in the book. So if someone was writing a biography of me, I don't know why they would, and I came to the three of you and said, please don't talk to that person, I believe you would honor that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I believe Mac King would honor that, and Piff would honor that. My family would certainly honor that. I believe most ex-girlfriends I've had would honor that. And therefore, by definition, the biography would only have people that did not respect me. I don't know about when it's said it's well documented. I don't know what that means. I mean, I know Laurie Anderson. I knew Sylvia. I talked with them without Lou around, and they never came to me with this. Of course, they wouldn't. I mean, I'm not saying they would, but I'm saying that you're asking me how I dealt with something that I really haven't dealt with. And my dealing with Lou doing this abuse, I knew Lou had a temper. I know Lou was mean. But I never had to deal with this. I never read it in a book. And I think that the person that wrote this has some sort of idea that I would know everything about Lou Reed from a biographer point of view. I believe if a biography came out of one of you, I would not consider the book more well documented than my relationship with you.
Yeah.
So I'm not denying it. I'm not saying that I'll defend Lou, but I'm just saying that I really didn't have to address that. If I'm taking this, what's written here is true, then all I'm going to say is the obvious. I do not condone hitting anybody ever. I do not condone any sort of violence. I do not condone any sort of abuse. As I said, with Iggy Pop, I like the fact they didn't hit back. I really enjoy that. And these allegations, I don't know what level of proof they've been subjected to. But if that was given to me as absolute proof, then yes, I would be able to say that that was deeply and awfully wrong, unforgivable. No way you can condone it in any way. And I would also say that Lou Reed was still my friend. He was my friend, and I still liked his music and his art. And I think we're forced to do that all the time. And I don't know if we tear down everything because of that. I just don't know. But yeah, I'm bothered. I'm bothered by this, very bothered by this. And but I think you can say, and I don't mean to make this comparison, but you can find out that great people had serious and criminal flaws and still try to follow the good things that they did.
Yeah. I think it's a tough time because obviously we're coming to a reckoning with a lot of our figures in our nation's history and how we want to treat those names and the tributes to them. But those aren't matters of the heart. And so I remember when everything went down with Louis C.K., Sarah Silverman was doing her Hulu show and said something with along the lines of I still love one of my best friends. It's hard. I don't want to come out and try to hide that, and I don't want to come out and say that everything they did is okay. So I think it's always hard to ask someone who's. I mean, you and Lou were extremely close.
Yeah.
And like you said, you didn't know at the time. So to have revelations after the fact, that's got to be a tough thing to have weighing on you. And if you weren't...
And I also believe revelation is a pretty strong word. I believe I'm finding this out from a letter written into our show.
Right.
Now, if I went and did research, which I will also add, I probably won't. I don't know what the upside is of me finding out that a friend of mine and an artist that I admire did bad things. I don't know if Louis C.K. is a bad example because Louis C.K., what he did may have been wrong.
Right.
But it was different than assault.
Totally different than assault, and also confirmed that it happened.
Yeah.
By him and apologized.
Yeah. So to answer to that being an event that happened,
I think it was, I think he gave a good and sincere apology.
Yeah. Well, many people disagree with that.
Right. I know.
And I don't even know. But if you want to have this morph into a discussion of people have tried to have me, I don't mean professionally, I mean friends, have tried to have me comment on the tearing down of statues and this and that. And the truth of the matter is, I don't think it does any harm to take down statues and to change names of things. I think if that's bothering people, we can just stop it. It's not like we're negating history. Statues are not history.
Even the Reb statue at UNLV?
Even the Reb statue.
Even
UNLV.
Reb?
I don't think that those are parts of culture that matter very much.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, our culture is stand-up comedy, rock and roll, freedom of speech. That's our culture.
Cheeseburgers,
yeah. And I don't condone violence ever. If they're tearing down a statue and it's destroying someone's property, that's a different issue. But the idea that we have to keep our heritage, it just seems insane. And for someone like Donald Trump, who has carried on about not liking losers, John McCain was a loser. He was shot down. Well, Donald, every fucking general in the Confederate Army was by definition a goddamn loser. They lost the fucking Civil War. So why would you have an army base named after a losing general anyway? I also will tell you, I will state this as a fact, that if you asked Donald Trump in 2014 to name 4 Confederate generals, he couldn't have done it to save his useless fucking life. By the way, I can't do it.
Right.
How many Confederate generals can you name, Godot?
Lee.
Yeah, we got Lee. We all got Lee.
Yeah, okay.
Dix,
No,
right?
that's
Bragg
good.
or something. Some of the named. I only know that because of the controversy. Can you name any, Reddy?
can I contact my ex?
Who is a Civil War reenactor, for those who don't follow the show closely. Can you, Matt?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Your audio is coming in unclear, buddy.
What I'm saying is, it's not part of our fucking heritage. It just simply isn't. It's not part of our heritage. You know?
Yeah.
It's not part of who we are. And for the South to be proud of who they are, and that does not require Confederate flags. And also, we don't need to be proud of any generals at all. We don't need to be proud of that. We can accept the fact that people went to war and that maybe we reap the benefits of that. But George Washington's legacy is not a statue. And knowing that George Washington did things that were terrible and wrong does not negate the fact that some ideas of this country are pretty good.
Yeah.
Thomas Jefferson was a slave owner, and that is horrible. And Thomas Jefferson also wrote some beautiful things.
Yeah.
That still makes sense to me. So I'm saying take down the statues. Take them all down. I don't care. I'm saying we don't need Confederate flags to be anywhere ever. If that's part of who you are, if part of who you are is waving a Confederate flag, okay, but don't do it. I mean, you're going to piss people off.
Once your symbol is co-opted by racists successfully, I don't think you want to fight for, I don't know how much worth it's to fight for it back, you know?
Well, if you're going to fight for it back, fight for it back.
Yeah. And tell racists to stop using it. Yeah.
Yeah. Say, you racists are not going to be able to use our flag. If a bunch of guys came in when the racists held up their flag and said, fuck you, this means the Allman Brothers. This does not mean you. This means Skinner. This is Skinner. This is drive-by truckers. This is ours. And you guys, with your racist shit, drop fucking dead and get out of here. This is our flag. Well, then we've got a more complicated conversation to have.
Wow. It didn't even occur to me that the conversation never happened.
I mean, take it back. You know, take the fucker back. Okay. But if it's going to have racist connotations and you're going to say, okay, then no, you don't get to do that.
Right.
If you want to say this Confederate, if you can take the swastika, I was very taken because I was watching the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
And I was watching one of their movies from 1935. Okay. And there is a hat on the table that is a Native American style cowboy hat. And there on the hat is something that looks very, very suspiciously like a swastika. Now, the Three Stooges, Horowitz, Feinstein, and Horowitz were not anti-Semitic.
Yeah, Navajo.
But if you say that this swastika, it's a backwards swastika, and it's not really a swastika. But if you're saying that this symbol is Native American, and you want to take that back, I'm going to tell you, you got a lot of work ahead of you. You've got a lot of work ahead of you. But you can take that. If Trump wants to say that his inverted red triangle is not a Nazi symbol used to attack people, then you can make that case, but you have got to work for it.
Yeah.
You've got to say, this is now a symbol of American socialism. But take it back. And the Confederate flag has not been taken back. It still has racist connotations. So that's it. And I don't know. I don't know. Are we all turning off the radio when Michael Jackson comes on? I am, but I did that before there was controversy.
I think about it every time. So that tells you something about legacy.
Yeah.
And I think about it when my kids, before the latest, big takedown of Michael Jackson came up, Bad was in the soundtrack of one of the Minions movies. And my kids still like that song very much. And I don't stop them from listening to it, but I think about it every time they do listen to it. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think we have, it may have sounded like I gave an answer. But, if you aren't comfortable playing Michael Jackson records, I think I'm okay.
Right.
I think I'm okay. I don't know how far we go back to this.
Do you have the right to stop someone else from listening to them is the other question.
Yeah.
I think that's the heart of the issue.
You have the right to inform them. And it's also different. If you want to have a statue of George Washington in your home or even on your lawn, I think I'm okay with that. But if we're going to have public statues, everybody should be comfortable with them. Yeah. I think I'm coming around to I'm okay with the New York Public Library deciding to take down the Roosevelt statue with the Native American and the African American walking beside his horse. I think that's creepy and uncomfortable, and there's a lot of people that want to go into that public building, and I don't want them to wince every time.
Right.
I don't want to wince every time. That's a wincing statue.
Yeah.
So if it makes you a little uncomfortable, we can put something else there. We have plenty of art.
Right.
And, the people like Donald Trump who are sticking up for these statues, I will guarantee you that stupid motherfucker doesn't know anything about the history around that person.
Yes, that part.
He certainly knows less about Roosevelt than I know about Lou Reed. Can we agree with that?
Yes. Yeah.
And although he's probably old enough to have known Roosevelt, man, Donald Trump is looking wicked old, isn't he?
Yes.
He's got to stop that sleepy Joe Biden stuff.
Yeah.
Biden is looking, in this particular Olympic race, Biden is looking in better shape.
Yeah.
Trump is looking like he was, rode wet and rode hard and put up wet.
Put away, yeah. Yeah, there it is.
Not rode wet because that hurts less, but rode hard and put up wet.
Rode hard, put away wet.
I think Donald Trump is not looking good.
No.
Donald Trump be the first to tell you when you start looking like a loser.
Yeah.
He looks...
and ask him, like, secretly, wouldn't you want to be just in one of your suites at one of your golf clubs around the world right now instead of dealing with all this?
Well, but that's not his choice.
Yeah.
His choice is if he doesn't get reelected, he goes to jail.
Ah.
Yeah.
He doesn't go to one of his nice, comfy suites. Even if Biden does the really incredibly, probably wise thing and pardons Trump,
Yeah.
he can't pardon him in New York.
Right.
And Trump's done illegal shit. So, I mean, Trump's got to get reelected and not go to jail, which is a nutty situation to be put in.
I mean, it's historically hilarious.
I think I'd be throwing some more rallies.
Like, the amount of, weird tropes and movies that we've seen where people go to, like, a consulate and hide under diplomatic immunity. No one pegs just run for president as the way to get to, like, sacred soil.
Pretty funny. But he is looking kind of loserish. So I've been watching all these documentaries, and I'm really liking it. Really liking it so much. The Marcus Miller one is great, on a fabulous bass player. And then I watched this. Teller told me to watch it. This Mae West, Dirty Blonde. It's American Masters. I did not know. I guess I should. This is embarrassing. You guys probably know this. I didn't. Did you know that Mae West wrote a Broadway play that put her in jail?
No. Wow.
No. It was censored, and it went to jail. She wrote 2 plays that ran on Broadway, one called Sex, about a prostitute, and the other one, I've forgotten the name of it, but it was about the gay culture in New York.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
And this is in the 1920s. And they threw her ass in jail. Now, when Mae West went to jail, everybody knew that it was a bad idea. And she just would hang out and have dinner with the warden every night. And made jokes and did not. I mean, Mae West is someone, she was in show business by the time she was 7. And what I love about this Dirty Blonde thing is we see there is a standard way you make documentaries. Mm-hmm. And it's you get some famous man, and then you get a lot of historian males who then talk about this famous person. So you picture Elvis as a good-looking, charismatic person. And then you get a lot of understated historians who talk about Elvis.
Yeah.
And it's this whole, sausage party of all men talking about it. With the Mae West documentary, you have Mae and then all these really smart, and you know what a sucker I am for smart women. Yeah. All these really smart women historically talking about Mae West and talking in really complex ways, right? Because Mae West was a sex symbol, and you could think of her as being not feminist. But certainly, if you watch the scene with her and Cary Grant, the seduction scene, it is exactly backwards from what everybody else was. And then Mae West, first of all, goes to jail for free speech. Already, she's Lenny Bruce, right? Lenny Bruce, Two Live Crew, Mae West. We already put her there. Second of all, she goes in to a studio. She came to Hollywood late. She was already in her 30s, I think maybe late 30s. And the studio head wanted to sign her for a picture. And because she'd been to jail, and because she was notorious and very popular, they had to pay her a lot. So they were negotiating in her office, and she said, "What do you get paid?" And he told her. And she said, "I want $1 more." And she got it.
That's amazing.
And I didn't really know that she wrote all her movies. And if she didn't write the whole movie, she insisted on writing all her lines. And she produced them. And they say that she did everything on the set. Everything. She did casting. It was all her movies. And then, when it got to be the 70s, she made a movie called Sextet She was in her 80s. She played a 24-year-old. And she was married to Ringo Starr, Alice Cooper, Keith Moon. I mean, there's a level of, she wasn't married in the movie to only Ringo Starr. But Keith Moon was her designer, and Alice Cooper was her friend.
That's badass.
It was like George Hamilton. And I haven't seen the movie Sextet, but everybody who talks about it says that you cannot figure out what the plot is or what she's doing. But she's playing a 24-year-old, and she's in her 80s. And it's all about sex. And the scenes with her and Ringo Starr that they showed are insane. So whatever we want to say about Mae West, whether we love her for being a freedom fighter, whether we love her for being a feminist, or whether we love her for being a nut, there's a lot of reasons to love Mae West. So I recommend that documentary pretty strongly. And we still have not talked about Rough and Rowdy Ways. Have you guys listened to Rough and Rowdy Ways?
The new Dylan album?
Yeah. Well, you have homework for next week.
Okay.
All right.
I listened to a couple of songs from it that were available on the internet.
This is available. Whatever subscription you have, you can listen to it. It will not cost you anything.
All right.
And he does not cover any songs from Annie Godot.
No.
But I think
no accountant for taste.
he will blow your mind. He starts out, and the first line of the record, I believe, is "I sleep with life and death in the same bed." So he's not fucking around.
No.
He also says in it, there's no one else you can compare to this. He says, "I'm Anne Frank, I'm Indiana Jones, and I'm those British bad boys, the Rolling Stones." Who else do you know that compares themselves to Anne Frank, Indy Jones, and the Rolling Stones in one line? And the New York Times asked him about that, and he said, "Well, they all seem the same to me." And they say, "Indiana Jones is fictitious." And he goes, "Yeah, I know." So there you go. There you go. So I think we covered everything we could possibly cover. So that was Penn Sunday School.
That was Penn Sunday School.
Cha-cha-cha.
And to our listening,
You become naked. I want to confess I'm really enjoying thinking about Iggy Pop and Rod Stewart having sex together. I would pay cash money to watch that. And once again, we redeemed Rod Stewart.
Nailed it.
New York Times tried to tear him down. We didn't let him. You know I love you.
The Drag was the other play.
The Drag, yes.